We're here today to deliver petitions from over 63,500 people, 63,500 people, demanding a permanent and complete ban on gas drilling and fracking in the Delaware River Watershed. Pennsylvania is now the #2 gas producer in the nation, and the communities of Pennsylvania are paying the price for it, environmentally and in terms of public health. It is affecting in every way our present and our future. In the Delaware River Watershed, there's a moratorium. It's been in place for 7 years, but the industry is now pushing to try to have that moratorium lifted. The Delaware River Watershed supplies water to 17 million people. 5.5 million of those people live in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's portion of the basin only takes up about 14% of the state, and yet 43% of the population of Pennsylvania live there. And 12.2 million jobs are in southeastern and the eastern part of Pennsylvania, just within the Delaware River Watershed. Why is that? Because it has tremendous economic value. And what is the basis of that economic value? A healthy, free-flowing river and excellent water supply. It is really important at this time, as we face the changes that are going on at the federal level, to make sure that we can cement in place a moratorium turned into a ban on fracking and drilling in our watershed. And that's because the federal representative holds one of the 5 votes, and that represents President Trump. The White House today is pushing for drilling, it's pushing for oil drilling, for coal mining, for fossil fuel development, and just in the news yesterday, removing fracking limits on public lands. That administration has one of the 5 votes that's going to decide the fate of the Delaware River Watershed. Right now, the moratorium is certainly too uncertain. We need to cement in place the protections that the 17 million people throughout the 4 states, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware require, and the 5.5 million people of Pennsylvania require, in order to ensure that the degradation that would occur should gas drilling occur in the upper reaches of the Delaware cannot happen. So we are here today to ask Governor Wolf. As governor, he represents the Delaware River Basin Commission on that commission. And he is a key vote because of the huge landmass that contains the Marcellus Shale. We're asking him to vote with his fellow commissioners, New York's governor, New Jersey's governor, Delaware's governor, to enact a permanent and complete ban. New York has already enacted that ban based on public health and environmental concerns. New Jersey is on the cusp of change. Delaware actually was the deciding vote in making sure that the moratorium went in place 7 years ago, because Governor Markell at the time said he did not want to risk the coastal resources and water quality of their water supply. So there's only one path forward today. The science is telling us to do it. The people, the constituents of Governor Wolf, are telling us to do it. The people who enjoy the wild and scenic river, who know that the exceptional water quality of the Delaware River cannot be replaced. The people are asking for a complete and total ban, and that's why we're here today, to give voice to those people and say to Governor Wolf, step up, join with your fellow commissioners, and enact a permanent and complete ban on gas drilling and fracking within the Delaware River Watershed. I'd like to introduce Sharon Feridun of Burke's Gas Truth, who will tell us a little more about why we need a ban.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you everyone for being here today. I wanted to just say that I kind of think I'm an appropriate person to be speaking today because I got into the anti-fracking movement in 2010. And that means that I was brand new to it at the very time that the Delaware River Basin Commission was putting in place the moratorium that we still have in place right now. But I remember what it was like at the time very vividly. I remember what it was like trying to soak in all the information I possibly could because I was new to it. And so I remember, for instance, that there was a lot of science that wasn't in yet, so to speak. There was a lot of concern, there was a lot of damage already happening in our state, but a lot of the science wasn't known. And then fast forward to about 2014, 2013 maybe, studies were coming out at the rate of one every other day. Now it's 2017, we have more than 900 studies that collectively make the case for a ban on fracking. And so it's past time that every place, including Pennsylvania, bans fracking, but it is particularly insane for an entity like the Delaware River Basin Commission to consider exposing an area that has been protected to fracking at this point. It's bad enough that Pennsylvania hasn't gotten the idea that it's time to ban it, but it's been happening here for more than a decade. We have had protections in that part of the state that Tracy just described from fracking this entire time, and now the Delaware River Basin Commission is actually considering reversing that. There isn't even a word to describe that level of insanity. One of the things that we've learned since 2010 is about the impacts that fracking is having on climate change, which is the issue of our hour, of our day, of our generation. And so we have to start thinking more simply about the environment. We have to recognize that we are it. We are the environment. It's not something else over there that we need to take care of. We are the environment. And how we treat the environment is a direct reflection on how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other. And so it's more important than ever that the Delaware River Basin Commission put in place the permanent protection that we need to make sure that the Delaware River is protected, because when we protect it, we're protecting ourselves. When we protect the drinking water supply of 17 million people, we are very clearly protecting ourselves. When we protect the communities in Pennsylvania from having to deal with any fracking in their communities and places that have been spared to date, we are protecting ourselves regardless of where we live. We're protecting our planet. That's how we have to start thinking about things. Regulators like to regulate, but sometimes you have to stop regulating. Sometimes you have to say something is just not worth doing. This is not worth doing. Governor Wolf has the chance to say so. We're calling on him to make a statement to the Delaware River Basin Commission by expressing his support for an outright ban on fracking, the permanent protection we need. Thank you. Oh, I will now turn it over to Joanne from the Sierra Club.
Thank you, Karen and Tracy. My name is Joanne Cal Gower, and I serve as the director of the Sierra Club's Pennsylvania chapter, representing more than 100,000 members and supporters in the Commonwealth. I'm here today because our members have joined this call for a ban on fracking in the Delaware River Basin and have implored me to stand up and speak out as their representative. It's no secret that fracking poses a threat to our communities, our environment, and our democracy. As we stand here representing more than 60,000 Pennsylvanians in our call for a permanent ban on fracking in the Delaware River Basin, the Senate has advanced a budget bill that essentially hands over the permitting and regulatory oversight of oil and gas industry to the operators themselves. In a state that insists on putting the interest of these companies ahead of the interests of the people, we must endeavor ourselves to protect our communities as we can and to begin to reclaim our society. Without a permanent fracking ban, residents in the Delaware River Basin could be faced with well pads, compressor stations, drilling rigs, and countless miles of pipeline construction that have already been impacting other communities in the Commonwealth. In the neighboring Susquehanna River Basin alone, there have been nearly 5,500 unconventional wells drilled just since 2007, and 27,600 additional wells could be drilled by 2030. In this challenging time, with so many troubling signals from state and federal officials, it's up to us to lead. Once trees are clear-cut, wells are drilled, and water is contaminated, there is no going back. We ask that the commissioners, including Governor Wolf, strengthen the existing de facto moratorium and make the fracking ban permanent basin-wide for recreational purposes, for the protection of our natural resources, and for current and future generations that depend on clean water. While our elected officials stand with companies that pollute our streams, exploit our lands, and compromise our public health, I stand with the millions of people who rely on the Delaware for their drinking water. I stand here with my colleagues and with communities across Pennsylvania and throughout the basin to call for this common sense protection for the Delaware River. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Sharon Probert.
My name is Sharon Furlong, and I am one of the spokespersons for Bucks Environmental Action. Bucks Environmental Action is a group of approximately 500 people, most of whom are members as well as leaders in other environmental and social justice activist groups in the Bucks, Philadelphia, and Montgomery County areas. We came together as longtime activists in order to help advertise and coordinate actions. We have striven to provide expertise, information, media coverage, and human power to other groups involved in the struggle, not only against the attacks on the environment, but also the attacks on human and community rights that are getting demolished in these most recent actions against the environment. This industry, the industry that uses hydraulic fracturing as part of its toolkit to extract natural gas, is an industry that has conducted itself in an aggressive manner. It has used questionable tactics, to say the least, and morally bankrupt tactics, to say the most, in its quest to extract fossil fuels and make a profit for the company and its shareholders. It has not only changed and hurt the land, and therefore the home of the creatures, plants, and trees that live there, but has run roughshod over the rights of local communities, landowners, and public and faith-based institutions. It has abused the erroneously given power of being allowed to use eminent domain in ways that indicate that it does not believe itself to be accountable to anyone, anywhere, or at any time. The people who are against this industry suffer and are rarely heard. Whole communities have little recourse if they don't accept the often disastrous plans for their often small community. I know I can speak for more than our one group, as our members hail from larger groups such as, but not limited to, 350.org, Bucks POA Fighting the Elcon Project, indivisible groups throughout the counties, Bucksmont Inclusive and Progressives, Penn Environment, Interfaith Power and Light, Fridays Without Fitzpatrick, and the Sierra Club. Literally over 25,000 people in our area. When I raise my voice in this demand, permanently ban fracking in the Delaware Basin now and forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Enjoy your day in Harrisburg.
We're just up at your office and we handed in a petition signed by 60,500
Thank you so much. Greatly
people
appreciate it.
asking for you to go with your commissioners at your RBC
That's right.
and determine a ban on fracking and fracking in the watershed. You will? Even with your fellow commissioners? Yeah. Great. I'm thrilled to hear that, and you'll see your constituents who signed those petitions that you received today. All right. Thank you very much.